All right, so let's start with Elon, because he said this was going to be this mega lawsuit, thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters. And just as a quick refresher for those who weren't paying attention last week to this, Media Matters is a disgusting left-wing group whose sole purpose in life is to take down conservatives or anyone who says conservative things or leans conservative or allows conservative exchanges of ideas. I can speak to this firsthand. I've been their target many, many times. They take completely innocent content or comments and then blow them up into a national story after day after day after day, trying to ruin you. I can't even tell you how many times it's happened to me and people I know at Fox. So now their target is Elon Musk. And in particular, they're saying that on Twitter, they found blue chip advertisers' ads right next to vile anti-Semitic content. They wrote, quote, X has been placing ads for Apple, Bravo, which is owned by NBC Universal, IBM, Oracle, and Xfinity, which is Comcast, next to content that touts Hitler and his Nazi party. They reported that IBM subsequently released a statement saying it has suspended all advertising on X while we investigate this entirely unacceptable situation. So this is Media Matters telling you X is placing ads for these big, big blue chip companies next to content touting Hitler and Nazis. Elon Musk sues, saying this was an intentional attempt to take down my business. You would not have seen such ads next to such content unless you did what Media Matters did, which he says involved them creating a false account, then going on and intentionally liking anti-Semitic content, Hitler, Nazi, and following the brands Apple, IBM, Infinity, and so on. And then their ads pop up next to your content. The ads, it's an algorithm. They're not reading in particular what they're next to. They're recognizing that you like their businesses, you follow their businesses, and then they populate your site. And while Elon Musk and X do a very good job overall of cracking down on truly vile anti-Semitic speech, they're not perfect. They gave the numbers in the lawsuit of just I don't know, it was tens of millions of posts, maybe hundreds of millions. And this small number get through, and Media Matters blows it up to make it seem like it's everywhere, and Apple's supporting it. These are the three elements, or three claims they brought, guys. Tortious interference with contract, the contract being between X and its advertisers, saying Media Matters tortiously, unlawfully interfered with that contract. Business disparagement, which is basically defaming a corporation. And intentional interference with prospective economic advantage, which requires an economic relationship between X and the advertisers, the defendant's knowledge of it, and intentional acts on the part of the defendant to disrupt that relationship, and then indeed actual disruption and economic harm to the plaintiff, meaning X. So, Marcia, how do we like these claims in this lawsuit by Elon?
He's entitled to make them. Can't say I'm a big fan of Media Matters myself, though. I'm just not a fan of cancel culture in general. And I don't like the idea of people setting others up because they don't like their political views or their sociological views, depending on whatever we're looking at, what issue is at hand. That said, they're making the reports that they are, if they're false. And if they are, in fact, jerry-rigging it, as you've indicated, that is the claim by Elon Musk, then the lawsuit will expose that, and it would be unfair. I don't like the idea on his part of trying to silence Media Matters. It seems to me like there's an awful lot of hypocrisy in this, going back and forth. He doesn't like what Media Matters is saying. Now, if they're doing something nefarious, and if they really are corrupt, as his claims seem to indicate, that's one thing. And he is going to expose it with a lawsuit. He's entitled to do that. And let's find out what the truth is here. Good idea. That said, Elon Musk himself has said things that indicate he has a certain tendency to lean on the anti-Semitic side. And so there is a little bit of fire where the smoke exists to indicate that he might want to put his thumb on the scale in favor of certain kinds of thinking, certain kinds of hate groups. That indicates perhaps he did do what Media Matters is saying. I don't know what the truth is, but he has a right to sue, and they have a right to fight back. whether or not
I have to say,
him.
I have to defend him on the anti-Semitic content allegation, because here's what he did. I think you're referring to this tweet. He sparked outrage. This is according to The Hill, when he responded to a user on the platform who claimed, quote, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. And it went on. And he responded with, you have said the actual truth. And people were like, oh my God, what is he saying? Like, this is clearly an anti-Semitic trope that he's responding to. But then he wrote in another post, which I think was an attempt to clarify this, the Anti-Defamation League, which purports to defend against anti-Semitism, but really is very woke and calls everybody a bigot. I mean, everybody who's not in line with their race essentialist views and trans essentialist views and all those views. He said that the Anti-Defamation League unjustly attacks the majority of the West, despite the majority of the West supporting the Jewish people in Israel. So that's what he was trying to say. He's a billionaire. He's a little off sometimes socially. And I will give him the benefit of the doubt on this, because I don't see other posts. I don't see like a long history of Elon, flirting with this kind of content. And this is what he says he was trying to raise. In the ADL, I mean, there's not a week goes by where they're not calling Tucker Carlson a racist and a bigot and an anti-Semite. And any conservative, I'm sure they've called me names. I don't know. Anyway, so Mark, how do you like the legal claims? Because this isn't really about Elon's tweet. It's about Media Matters' claim that X is posting ads for these brands next to content that touts Hitler and Nazis, which may be factually true. It may have happened in the case of this Media Matters user, but he generated it. He caused it to happen, and no social media platform is entirely foolproof.
Well, I'll tell you about the legal claims. If you look at the coverage of this lawsuit, they talk to the so-called experts. I say that so-called as we sit here commenting on it, but the so-called experts have been kind of diminishing the claims by saying, why did he file in Texas? Why it's got a weak case, so therefore he's picking or choosing his venue. The fact remains that not only does he have lawyers who are former solicitor generals there in Texas, but he's now got the AG fresh off of his vindication in the House there in Texas, Ken Paxton, opening up an investigation. And I will tell you that there was a similar lawsuit here in California a number of years ago, accusing Facebook of this very same thing and having ads that were linked to ISIS and other kinds of terrorist groups, things of that nature, that got legally nowhere in terms of what was said. I think, I disagree with some of the commentators, I think he's laid out a case that will survive what's called a 12B6 or a motion to dismiss initially, because he has pointed to what they have done in their methodology. And I think if he's correct that what they've done in the methodology is to kind of jerry-rig this, to use your term, then he gets past the motion to dismiss, and then it'll be interesting once he gets into discovery.
I mean, the thing is, in defamation, you can say something that is factually true within the four squares of the document, but is grossly misleading, right? And that's what he's claiming about their statement. Yes, maybe there was a case in which, thanks to what you did, Media Matters, you were able to see blue chip brands next to anti-Semitic content, but your statement about us, X, lacks the context that you made it. It was your goal in going on there to create an account that would like enough of that content that content would be generated over and over and over, and then to follow blue chip brands, which would then populate your site. I mean, and if you look at the vast experience of users on X, 99% of them do not have that experience. All context left out of your reporting, which was meant to disparage us.
And by the way, I'm old enough to remember being a liberal who supported the ACLU, and the ACLU was supporting people who were marching in Skokie, Illinois. So you have to wonder what has just happened to this idea of free speech and this idea of basically canceling those who are supportive of free speech. here you've got what is particularly irksome in this case is if it's true that they were reverse engineering this report, then that should be held accountable, and they shouldn't be able to cloak themselves in the First Amendment, so to speak, if they are demonstrably shown to have created the situation that they're condemning.
Well, exactly.
Marcia,
I mean,
Apple-
that's the problem with this whole thing, is that we don't know. We don't know. But if what he's saying, as I said before, if what he's saying is true, he's got a lawsuit there. He could win that lawsuit. And if he's not, I mean, that's a whole different story. And the experts, as Mark said, are saying, oh, he filed in Texas where there's no real connection to the case on a substantive level. That's true. He gets himself a champion that I don't know that you would necessarily want in Ken Paxton, who, by the way, is still facing charges in civil court, even though he won. Ultimately, he was impeached. He did get acquitted, and that to me is a political thing, but he's got a lot of baggage himself. I'm not sure he's your best avatar. That said, if Media Matters did indeed set this up, it's a valid lawsuit.
It's the Christmas and holiday season, everyone. Time for gift giving, parties with friends and family, and getting compliments everywhere you go. Looking years younger thanks to Genucel. From now through Christmas, Genucel's most popular package is more than 70% off at Genucel.com. Treat yourself and a loved one to the absolute best skincare in the world. See those troubling forehead wrinkles, fine lines, skin redness, pesky bags and puffiness, and even a sagging jawline disappear with Genucel's most popular collection. And with its immediate effects product, see results in less than 12 hours, guaranteed, or you get your money back. Plus, included in every most popular package is a free hyaluronic acid serum for skin hydration that will restore your youthful appearance. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 now. Enter my special promo code MK60 for an additional 10% off your entire order. Every order today instantly upgraded to free express shipping. Genucel.com/MK60. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.